So here's what I'm seeing halfway through the month of July for real estate sales. This is Ron Wysakarski for the Black Hole of Real Estate. And we are at an inflection point where the market is starting to get some new listings. And with that, we're seeing homes selling faster, especially the first week on the market when they're priced well. Now, I know it sounds pretty simple, yet some people still fall victim to overpricing the listing, being overly optimistic about what they might get for it, and feeling like they can always reduce the price later. It's the biggest mistake that's made, and we see it every day. And the people that are winning right now are absolutely putting their homes on the market. There are buyers out there, and they're getting really good offers. I've seen a couple of them just in the last few days go out at a market price and get full price really fast with quick closings. And if you can imagine, if you're going on the market tomorrow at the wrong price, it could be August, September, October, November before you get a good offer. You might not even get one. Or if you eventually bring the price down, let's say 60 days later, well, now you're stale in the market. And of course, buyers are thinking, hey, it didn't sell for 60 days. Price now seems okay with the reduction, but there must be something wrong with it. Why else would it last this long? And we see this. I've seen it my whole career, 20 plus years of doing it. And that happens all the time. I can personally tell you that two properties, and I mentioned this, full price offers, closing in 2 weeks or less with cash, boom, and it's done. So if you're looking to sell a property and you want to get, I would say, top dollar, which is what the market will bear, right? Pricing it right, you'll probably get that. But if you're going to put in all this extra room for negotiation or come down later, you're going to linger. And it's the worst thing that can happen because then you just end up, in most cases, getting less than you would have if you'd have just priced it right in the beginning. And these are critical things. And it's not something that's a big state secret. I've been saying it for years. I say it consistently in this space. And I feel like it's important to let people know that again today, to be a good friend and to remind you that that's the best possible way to get your home sold for the right price at the right time and probably with the right terms. Now, when you do this, you have the ability to sell to someone with a cash offer in good terms, maybe great terms. You could also get multiple offers and maybe sell to someone who isn't a cash buyer that maybe has interesting terms to you and possibly a little bit more money. And that gives you the best of all worlds where you can determine which is the best combination of price and terms and closing date that's going to work the best for you. Not every seller needs to sell in 2 weeks. In fact, some might need 4, 6, 8 weeks because they also need to buy another property with the proceeds, or maybe there's a contingent deal or some reason, a job transfer, school, a contract that's going to go a little bit longer for jobs. You may need a little bit longer closing date. And when you get in the market and have more than one suitor for your property, now you can start to dictate the terms that are most preferable to you. Even if it's selling in a couple of weeks and leasing your own home back for an extra month. Maybe the buyer doesn't need the property right away. You can lock in your money, and this is critical. Lock in your money in a couple of weeks, have it available so that when you go to buy, now you're a cash buyer because you've closed on yours. You pay a little rent back because you're going to pay rent someplace or a mortgage someplace. So it's not like you're spending money needlessly. If you rent your property back for a month or two, it just means you're spending it on your own property instead of a different property, whether it's first mortgage payment or interim Airbnb to live at until the time is right. And if you think that's a little bit crazy, fine. But here's what I know. When you go in to make an offer and you tell the seller, we like your house, we'd like to get a deal, my house is under contract, it's going to close in a month or two, and you can just wait for that. And don't worry, I'm sure it's going to close. You see, that seller is thinking, what if the deal doesn't close? What if something happens? What if the buyer can't get the loan or the job transfer doesn't happen? They're waiting for 6 or 8 weeks for you to get around to closing. Meanwhile, they could have had more money or not taken that risk. So when you can purchase or sell, in a couple of weeks and lease it back, Now you've got cash. You walk in as a cash buyer and you say, listen, I can come in and close with cash. I can close in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. You tell me, and then you can negotiate from there. So there's a lot that's going on with the market right now, but it's all predicated on if you start at the right price, you have more options and more offers and more flexibility to get the terms that you want. And if you're pacing the market and overly optimistic, you may eventually get one buyer, but that's the only game in town. You're not going to be able to negotiate in the same way, in the same manner as if you did it the way I'm describing to you. So, this is me, again, being a good friend, letting you know what works best in this market to give you the best opportunity to get the right price, the right terms, and the right closing date. If you got more questions, drop us a line. Definitely hit the review button, hit the rate button, hit the subscribe button. Show us a little bit of love if you're enjoying this over here. We would definitely like to send you more of this content, so definitely hit the subscribe button. This is Ron Wojciechowski for the Black Hole of Real Estate.